Jake, first of all, great to hear from you guys again. It's been a
Yeah.
while, man.
Yes.
And don't blame the pandemic, please. I know you've been
That was
busy.
my go-to. That was my go-to. Now I can't use that. It's my ammunition.
That's correct. But I guess, it's been like a busy year for all of us, of course, especially artists. They had time to like develop stuff, great stuff like your new album, for instance, right? You've been doing work all throughout 2020.
Yeah, it's been busy. I mean, we've been able to curb this sort of, this creativity towards touring and then for,
Right.
the next stop 3-4 years and then, redirect it over here or something.
But for most artists that I've been talking to, they are trying to avoid a little bit thinking or composing or creating something about the whole pandemic. And from the song I've heard, of course, it evolved. I mean, you went this way as well. I mean, you're not really focusing on what happened, but trying to find new ways to send your message. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of, the record that was sort of finished around summer of 2020, right? So it was like, it was pretty much done then, but then, the pandemic did set in. And we had a lot of time that we were recording and writing and demoing and sort of just, performing creative measures and stuff. And we came up with 2 more songs that we thought really served the album. So instead of 10, now we have 12.
Right.
And yeah, I think that, like you said, I mean, it's resourcing a way and trying to achieve a way of saying and having a voice to share what's going on in the world, but without, I think, directly saying this is, shouting it out and telling everyone what's really going on, because everybody's well aware of what's going on.
That's all right. So you said the record was scheduled already for launching in the summer 2020, right?
Yeah.
That was the original schedule. How did
Yeah.
the whole thing affect you? I mean, you had to wait almost another year to release it. How did it affect the whole band and you as an artist?
Yeah, I think, the pandemic for us has been sort of a double-edged sword, because I think, in one regard, it robbed us of something that is at the ethos or the soul of our sort of existence as a band to a certain degree, because we're such a live band. We're such a go out and play for the people. It's at, that's at the helm of our purpose to a certain degree.
Yep.
And so that's robbed. So that's fine. But then, on the positive side of the blade, you kind of can go, well, we've been able to visually represent
Yeah.
a lot of the musical stuff that we've never been able to do before, and have been writing so much and recording and been creative in other aspects.
It's funny you say that because, again, from the song I've heard, that's the only thing I've heard from the album was Hit Above. I mean, it's such a live song. I mean, I couldn't imagine yourselves on stage performing that, because it's brilliant, by the way. It's about many songs in one. You see, I really appreciate that. I mean, is that a taste of what's to come in the whole album?
Yeah. I mean, the album, it's interesting. It really, you could look at the entire album and say, this is like 2 albums. This is like a double album, but there's only 12 songs on it because it's very dense. It's very dynamic. It's very concentrated. It took a while to do that. I think we probably could have done 2 albums in the amount of time, in the amount of effort.
But again, because it's very elaborate, I was thinking part of it was recording throughout the pandemic. How did you work actually, like physically? Were you together, working separately? Did the pandemic change a little bit of your plans in the terms of recording the album?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, initially the album was pretty much, we'd concluded the recording process in, last summer, but because everything sort of shut down, we had all this time that we were playing together and we were writing a bunch of stuff. And we had these 2 songs in particular that we were really fond of. And it was like, oh, great, because we were writing another record, and it's like, it's like, what else do you do, really? But yeah, we had these other 2 songs, and we're like, well, these actually fit on the Battle at Guernsey Gate perfectly. so we can't repurpose them and move forward in a different direction
Yeah.
because we're still kind of there in that space. We can't go tour on this album and sort of digest it and then move on from that point. So we have 2 more songs that go on to the 10-song album. Battlegrounds 8 is now 12. So that was something that kind of happened and served its purpose over this period of time.
A little bit different, but still, I mean, as it came out, it was like a brilliant, almost like it were like all together working at the same time, like the normal way. But musically, I mean, I was curious because just this morning here in Brazil, I said, let me check this guy's page on Brazilian Wikipedia, right? I said, let's see how Brazilians read your work, and then I read the American one, which is like way more complete. But anyway, in the Brazilian writers, they wrote that you're a classic band. You see, I mean, very modern, but still with roots in the blues and rock and everything. Like this was the most strong aspect of your work, and I would agree with that. But also, somebody wrote a last paragraph saying, "Oh, but nowadays they're going forward. You see, listening to new bands and trying to be more modern." I mean, kind of like bullshit that we know that people write in Wikipedia. But still, when I heard Heat Above, it's like, oh, maybe yes, musically they're going a little bit different. They're a little bit more complicated, but this is a very positive word. I mean, in my idea. So is this kind of like new direction maybe for your music?
Yeah, I think so. And like again, we sort of talked. It's like, you know, it could be like 2 albums. Because there's a basic amount of complexity as well as the simplicity of some of these songs or some of these works. But I think it was really kind of challenging ourselves to sort of emote and evolve from what had previously been, you know, released. And it's like that's sort of our mindset. And any concluding phrase of at the end of the day, it's like if we can't evolve, if we can't, you know, stagnance is death, and stagnance is suicide, especially for a group to a certain degree. It's like, so if we couldn't come up with something that was, you know, better or more evolved or different than the last, of its purpose, then we wouldn't have had any point of it. I think that's sort of represented in the performance aspects, the instrumental aspects, the songwriting aspects, the arrangement, the storytelling. And it's kind of putting a bookmark in between the pages. This is kind of where we are now.
Indeed. You know, it didn't mention the vocals, but again, I mean, Greta Van Fleet is known by like this great vocal, but from this track again, where are you coming up, man? This is really brilliant. So there was some sort of elaboration on that too as well, I think, right?
In terms of the vocal?
The vocals, yeah. I mean, your brother, I mean, yeah, it's like very, I mean, it's an impressive voice anyway, but whoa, what is this time? I mean, you're really pushing forward.
Yeah. I mean, the development of every member, I mean, Josh, Samuel, Daniel, I mean, everybody's kind of come, you know, after touring for that long, I think we've kind of come to a new, you know, an evolved state. It's like, that's the idea, to continue becoming better, I suppose. That's the best outcome.
Oh, congratulations, indeed achieved that. Let me ask you, like, I'm curious about, where are you speaking from? I mean, this is your house, your studio. Where is this all about? What I see on the background?
So this is, we're in Nashville. We moved recently. That may be the most stereotypical thing a musician can do. That's like, you know, we're here often. It's between New York and LA and then Nashville. It's like, well, you know, maybe we should move here. Maybe we should call this home for a while because we're constantly here. So yeah, it's interesting. The city.
Oh, there's a scoop there. Maybe you're moving to Nashville. That's fun. I mean, that's fun.
Maybe next year we'll move to Brazil. Who knows?
Yeah, unless of course you start like a U.S. tour or even a world tour. Brazil will definitely want to see you here. But again, I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. I mean, even if you say I do want to go on the road, I mean, how does it feel for you? You're a live band, and you're a wonderful studio band, but you're also a great live band from the clips I've seen. So, what are your expectations about that?
And when we get back touring, you mean, or what do you?
Yeah, I'm going back. On stage and doing a tour. I mean, you're a musician. You're a rock musician, so you'd certainly miss that whole scene. What are your expectations? Are you going back soon?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of waiting on the moguls or these industry fellows to tell us, okay, you know, now it's like, maybe you can get going again or something. I don't know. We've heard that fall, maybe a reluctant time to tour it yet again, but I suppose we can always just kind of wait and see. But
Right.
yeah, it's like you know, to see the faces and to be back there. I mean, I guess the lack of that really informs us that that is something that's so absolutely important to us.
Well, I speak with a lot of artists, and they all say almost the same thing. I mean, we do miss the stage and everything, but I was thinking about the energy of the audience. I mean, imagine
Yeah.
that, fans of yours. I mean, when we finally get together, I mean, it's an incredible. I've been through a lot of concerts, and so in as much as you. But can you imagine the energy of your fans when they finally see you back on stage? That would be great, right?
Yeah, I've had dreams of that day. You know? Yeah, you know, when you walk out on stage and you see maybe so many unfamiliar and some familiar faces, and it's like, what's the energy going to be like? What's the energy going to be like when you can walk out and hear them screaming again, and you can connect with them, and we can, yeah, be you know, unified again. It's going to be a very interesting moment, but that's going to happen for everyone. You know, it's going to be really strange.
It's
But
gonna be strong.
be like walking out of a cave, you know?
Yeah,
Just kind
exactly.
of
That's the
light
thing.
again.
You probably have you done any lives throughout the last year? I mean, as people do now, lives on something online. Did you do that sort of stuff? No.
Like a live,
We say live in Brazil, which is like a concert online. You see, which is yeah. That we just call live here in Brazil in English, actually, which is a little bit awkward. But anyway, so did you do any sort of concert like that? No, it's performance.
no, I don't think we did. I mean, as soon as the things kind of took a turn, it was like a lot of people did initially go, okay, we're going to do live concerts now.
Right.
But we didn't really impulsively sort of get on that train. We sort of sat down and said, what are we going to do? And is there anything that can substitute for the human experience that a live show can offer? There's this
Right.
sense of shared unity. There's this experiential aspect of physically being in the same room and experiencing something together and for the first time. And you can't. So that was kind of where we went and said, what is the alternative to that? It's like the next, you know, most common experiential thing that someone could experience, that could experience, and be like
Right.
film, movies, like,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, from the concerts and the performance I've seen, they're okay, but again, they're not. They can never reproduce the feeling, the atmosphere that you have in a live concert. Never. Did you watch any? Were you pleased with what you saw? I mean, other artists maybe.
I watched a few, and yeah, they were really good. But again, it's like it served a different purpose. It wasn't
Right.
like it serves the purpose of, wow, this is really intriguing, and this is a great performance, and this is, you know, those aspects of performing and live performance and music. But if you're strictly doing that because you are, you know, trying to adapt or replace or come up with an, you know, produce an alternative to live
Right.
performances, then in that light, it suffers, I think.
You know, I think you're absolutely right, because I mean, when you come back on stage, I mean, it's going to be such a vibe and such an experience that we're all looking forward for that. So really, thank you for that. Thank you for raising the bar and make us expect the best when you come back on stage. Thank you very much. And again, congratulations for a new song. This is the very last question. So, I mean, you know, we have a lot of fans in Brazil, which is great. Brazil is a great rock and roll country. You know what, like samba and soul and everything, but we are a rock nation as well. You probably want to visit us sometime, right?
Yeah, as soon as possible. It's a very what surprises me about South America and Brazil as well is it's such a
Music.
intent,
Yeah.
intent, passionate.
Ah.
Yeah, such a passionate culture. And it's like we go down and play rock and roll. Those are some of the best shows that we've ever played in South America.
So that's certainly what you're gonna find when you come here. A lot of passion. So, Jake, thank you very much again. Thank you for a nice conversation. Congratulations on the new album, to you, to your family, to your friends, and everybody. And I do hope to see you soon in Brazil or wherever in the world. Okay.
Yes. Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.